はい、どうも、とめです。今回やな、日本の方言について聞いてくれへん? So, today's video is about Japanese dialects, because, I've been learning Kansai-ben for quite some time now. I mean, it's not really that long, because it's been like a couple months, But I've noticed a couple interesting things that may have improved my Japanese overall, and not only the dialect, So I want to tell you a little bit about this stuff that happened, and that would maybe motivate you to learn a different dialect or simply get some more knowledge, insights on Japanese. You know how in Japanese there are these like phrases that cannot quite be translated perfectly into a different language, like dayone, like sodane, like shit like that, this like kind of aizuchi, the stuff that you kinda say as you talk with another person that add some kind of nuances, that add a little bit of meaning. There isn't really something like that in Polish and not really in English. I mean, not to the extent that Japanese has it, with their aizuchi. So basically, I kind of struggled with that, I basically said every single sentence without adding like ne, yone, like desho, daro, stuff like that. So my Japanese basically sounded a little bit like flat or some shit like that, like kind of boring, maybe very unnatural, not interesting probably. I feel like the first thing I noticed whenever I listen to somebody from a different prefecture, like Hakata, like somebody speaking Hakata-ben, like somebody who's from Fukuoka, or somebody from Hokkaido, someone from Kansai, Kyoto, Osaka. First thing you notice is kind of that aizuchi, because it is different. Whenever you speak non-keigo, like informal language or like tameguchi, you can basically see, especially with old people, because they have this strong accent, but they don't use like jan, they don't really use like dayone, they use something different depending on where they are from. So for example, the jan in like Tokyo-ben, like in standard Japanese, would be like yan in Kansai-ben. And you know how Japanese has this particle like da? It also really differs, because in Kansai-ben it's like ya. Up north from Tokyo it usually is da, as far as I know, but around the Kansai region, as you go south in Japan, it's usually just ya. So it's like softer, definitely. And in Hiroshima, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think they just say ja, which is more like old Japanese, I would say, Another thing is like in like standard Japanese you would say sodane, and in Kansai you would just say seiyana, which I think sounds like just more fun, maybe more interesting. Another thing which is in standard Japanese, you would say nani tendayo, which is like, what are you talking about? Whereas in Kansai, like in Osaka, I would probably say nani yuttenen, which kind of sounds like more badass. I don't know if Yakuza really speaks like that, but kind of more fun in my opinion, and it has this like spice to it, So basically, I fucking struggled. My aizuchi, like these words basically, that really are a big part of Japanese language, I couldn't use them. But when I switched to learning Kansai-ben like 2 months ago, I started realizing, oh, like they say it differently. I haven't heard that. I haven't really heard yan or seiyana. Just this different way of speech made me put my mind to this aizuchi, and I basically, since I wanted to speak Kansai-ben, that's where my focus went. So I really focused on the part of Japanese that before I completely ignored, like involuntarily, because I got so used to hearing the standard Japanese that I didn't really, like I would understand the slight nuances between like dayo and dayone, or like dane, but I wouldn't be able to recreate it because I would just ignore it, and I wasn't used to using them. But learning Kansai-ben, I had to put my focus to it to sound more like somebody from Osaka. So 2 months it took me to learn some Kansai-ben, like Kansai-ben aizuchi, and right now I literally feel like I sound 10 times more natural whenever I'm speaking Japanese, Also with immersion, because basically to get fluent you kinda have to learn a lot, right? Like listen to Japanese fucking for hours every single day if you wanna learn Japanese in a way that wouldn't take you forever, yeah? I think that if you find a video when somebody is speaking like different dialects of Japanese, you will kind of get a feel for which way you would like to sound more like, and then you could just like search for creators that speak that particular dialect. And I feel like just the fact that you are listening to a particular dialect that you like might really make it easier for you to immerse, you know, because that's what happened for me. I didn't really understand that much when I started watching like Yusei Dao, which is like a guy making interviews and he speaks Kansai-ben. But just the fact that he spoke the dialect that I wanted to speak as well made me just watch his videos more, so I was immersing more, and therefore like I just improved faster, you know. Before I realized I understand basically 95% of his videos. Another thing, you know, let's say you only learn Hyojin, like standard Japanese, for the whole like duration of your studies. And then you encounter somebody from fucking Okayama, or somebody from Fukuoka, or somebody like some Oji-san with a strong Kansai accent. You'll probably not be able to really get what the fuck they're talking about, you know? Like, you will realize the patterns in their speech, but it really is. You don't realize how different Japanese can sound if you don't listen to those dialects, you know? You don't have to master every single one, but I really do think, like, it interests me, these slight nuances, and I'm kind of interested in other dialects right now, so I expand my Japanese knowledge to be able to understand people from different prefectures. Some old people with stronger accent I could be able to understand easier than if I had just learned standard Japanese. Because even though it is standard Japanese, that's the thing you are probably used to hearing, because that's how they speak in anime, that's how they speak in like video games, in most of YouTube and TV shows. Japan is fucking huge, you know, and Tokyo, like, what the fuck is that, like 20-something million Japanese people living there? That is really a small part of the whole Japan. And I think that if you would meet somebody from a different background in Japanese, from a different prefecture, like somebody from Kyoto, and you actually spoke like Kyoto dialect, you'll be able to connect with them on such a deeper level than if you just speak in Hyojinro to everybody, you know? For example, if you have like a city that you would love to live in Japan in the future, like for example Akita, like northern Akita, or like Fukuoka, where it's like fucking sunny. I don't know if it's sunny, but it's more south. Or if you wanted to live in Okinawa, why don't you start learning Okinawa-ben or like Hakata-ben, the dialect spoken in Fukuoka, for just some time. Like, it took me 2 months where I could basically... I have had people compliment me on my Kansai-ben. Like, I feel like I made fucking amazing progress learning that dialect in such a short amount of time. And I believe that when I go to Osaka in like a month, I will have so much like fun conversations in like bars with like other people, like Osaka citizens. Like, it will probably feel special for them if somebody took the time to not only learn Japanese, but also the dialect that they learned from their parents when they were kids, you know? I feel like it is quite an original and an interesting addition to your normal Japanese studies, you know? Of course, you don't have to only be listening to fucking people from Okinawa with their weird ass conjugations and shit like that, you know? But I'm not only listening to Kansai content, but I can like distinguish and like change from like Hyojinro to like Kansai-ben if I want to, you know? Like, of course, my intonation is a little bit off in both dialects, you know, like the pitch accent. So that's something like you just have to get used to, you know? But just using this like aizuchi, like these particles, trying to conjugate verbs and like adjectives in the way that they do it in certain parts of Japan, I feel like it's already special to a lot of people living there who would really appreciate that, you know? Yeah, go subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I finally inspired you. I'll be making a video right now on like YouTubers to learn Kansai-ben, because I've been really... Like, I improved quite fucking a lot because I was just able to watch like so many funny YouTubers that speak the dialect that I wanna learn, and the Japanese just came with that. Like, the last couple weeks, days, I feel like my Japanese comprehension and output like 2 times better. I feel 2 times more confident if I were to like be put on a spot just speaking to some people, you know? Yeah, じゃあね。